you so much for joining me again today, and thank you for tuning in. If you are new to There Is Still Hope, I am Dalenga, and this is, of course, There Is Still Hope. This is a place we encourage people to move away from past sorrows and move on and embrace a life that matters. Well, if you are coming back, please do stay tuned and watch this video until the end. To anyone who's new, please do subscribe and become part of the family. I'm back, and we are coming back with a new topic, a very interesting topic. Please stay tuned. Well, in life, we are responsible for the life that we live, and we are also responsible for every good thing that we would want from life. And if we go around thinking that somebody else owes us that good life, we may end up living an unfulfilled life. Well, this is what we are talking about today, and the topic is no one owes you anything. Stay tuned. Hi guys, as I have introduced the topic that I am going to bring to you today, I have someone with me who's going to break it down. I'll give her an opportunity to introduce herself. But as for now, welcome to There Is Still Hope. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much, Ndalenga, for having me. My name is Anna Hamalo. I'm mostly a mother. I work in the field of social development, in the field of education and health education. And I'm a firm believer in one living life to their fullest potential. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to There Is Still Hope once again. Talking about no one owes you anything. And this topic can be so controversial, but in your own words, what are we really saying? No one owes you anything.
Well, Ndalenga, when we're saying no one owes you anything, we are simply saying you owe yourself everything that you think you ought to have. That the people in your lives, anything they do to you, whether it's spending time with you, whether it's buying you a gift, it's out of the goodness of their heart. And it's a privilege to you and not a right. You don't have that entitlement to it, but people are simply being nice. So when you receive what you get, you receive it with gratitude as a privilege that you have these people doing somebody. They don't owe you anything. They are not supposed to do this. You shouldn't feel entitled that your friend, you're not entitled to your friend's time. You are not entitled to your friend's money. You are not entitled to your neighbor's car. If you have access to this thing, it's simply out of the goodness of these people, and they don't owe you anything.
Well, Anna, I get what you're saying. But what if I do you good? Am I not supposed to expect something good from you? Say, for example, I give you something, and I probably think, okay, well, I gave her something. I expect you to be nice. What do you have to say?
If you give me something, I could be nice out of the goodness of my heart, but I'm not being nice because I owe you. We are called to be kind. We are called to be helpful, but it's not because somebody owe us that goodness or somebody owe us that kindness. You do it out of the goodness of your heart. So even if I help you, even if you help me, I still do not owe you anything.
Exactly.
I'm giving an example of sowing. You plant a seed, but there's only two scenarios. It's either that seed germinate, where it will give you fruits, or it does not. And as a human being, you need to give without expectation. You need to help without expectation. You need to love unconditionally. Because the moment you put condition, the moment you put expectation, you have created a chance of disappointment. Yes.
Which can end up in frustration, bitterness, unforgiveness, and all
hatefulness and all that. These are all things that comes from us expecting or thinking that the world owes us anything. But the moment you transform your mind into thinking, into really believing that nobody owes me anything, you are cultivating a culture of gratefulness. So whatever you get, you are grateful because you understand that these people are not giving me because they owe it to me. They are just being nice people. They are just being good. They are practicing the kindness of their heart. Yes.
In a nutshell, Anna is actually saying, if you do good to someone and they return the goodness that you have done to them, glory be to God. And if they don't, so be it.
Exactly.
After all, God remains the rewarder.
Exactly. They said, the Bible said, it's more blessing to give than to receive. So imagine a world where we all believe that we owe something to the world. We owe to plow back to the world, but the world does not owe us. What a great world that will be. Because then we'll have a world or a society or a community or a family where everybody is aspiring to be a giver and not a receiver. Therefore, nobody will lack. Nobody will be disappointed because you don't feel entitled. You live in a joyful life because you don't expect what you are receiving. So every time you receive, you are grateful, you are rejoicing because you don't feel entitled to it.
This brings me to think of even men is killing women. You know, feeling that, well, I have invested so much in this person, I have really given my all, but at the end of the day, the person just leave me like that. And at the end of the day, they feel like, well, you don't deserve a life without them anymore. So if they are not part of your life, you can't continue. And it's all selfishness. And actually a mentality of thinking that somebody else owes you something.
It's entitlement. It's a sense of entitlement. Every time you invest in someone, you help someone, you feel you are entitled to their life or you are entitled to their time. You are creating a space of abuse, a space of hate. In our families nowadays, you find that we are hating on our families that are well off mostly because we feel I have an auntie who is a minister, but I'm here living in Havana. That's your life.
Exactly.
That's your life, and where you are right now, in the stage you are in your life, you are living in Havana. It doesn't mean you're going to live in Havana for the rest of your life, but that's where you are now, and therefore you just need to be content with it. But the moment you think somebody ought to take you out of Havana, you'll be a very miserable person. You'll be a very miserable person.
So you should work hard enough to get yourself out of Havana.
Only you owe yourself something. Like you said at the very beginning, all the good thing that you want out of life, you owe it to yourself.
Exactly.
No one else owe you that. Your happiness, you cultivate your own happiness. You can find somebody who is very happy living in a kabashu in Havana, but you can find a very miserable person living in a mansion at Louisdorf. Why is that? It's a sense of either you are content or you are not content. A person who has a sense of entitlement, who feels people owe her or him something, he will never be fulfilled. If I give you a car, you're like, why is she giving me a Toyota?
Exactly.
She ought to give me a Benz.
Exactly.
If I give you $100, you feel, why is she giving me only $100? She could have given me 1,000. And therefore, there's no end. There's no fulfillment on somebody who feels somebody owes them anything.
Ungratefulness at the same time.
Yes, you would always want more.
Yes, and I also think this also comes with an attribute of being self-centered.
Exactly. For someone that think the world owes them something, who is also a self-centered person, because you are not thinking about the need of other people. You are not thinking what could they be going through. You are just thinking about getting your own needs and your own wants fulfilled at their expenses. So a person who thinks the world owes them something is definitely also very self-centered. Yes. They put themselves first before anybody else. I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting yourself first. The problem is when you put yourself first on somebody else's expenses. Me thinking that you should give me your last $100 while your children do not have bread in the house, but I feel entitled to that $100. I'm not thinking about yourself. I'm not thinking about what need could you yourself have. I'm not thinking about your expenses, what you could be going through. I'm just thinking about myself. I need this $100 and I need it now. She owe it to me. She needs to give me this $100. Exactly. It's very self-centered, yes.
Well, Anna, we have spoken about a sense of entitlement, thinking that someone else owes you something. But just to flip the coin, to bring in the relationship between the parent and a child.
Parents are responsible for the upkeep of their children. As a mother, I understand that my child have the right to education. Yes. My child have the right to basic need. So I'm responsible to feed my child, but in turn, my child should not waste this food that I'm giving them. I'm responsible to send them to school. In turn, they need to work very hard at school. I'm responsible to clothe them. In turn, they need to take care of the clothes that you provide for them. So as a parent, yes, we are responsible for our children's need. But in that responsibility, we also need to teach them that as much as it's their right to have education, that right comes with a responsibility, because it's a privilege, like I say. So they need to do their part. And therefore, if you teach them to appreciate what they are receiving from their parent, they will grow to be grateful. They will grow to be fulfilled. They will grow to appreciate every little thing that they are getting. Because there will come a time in their lives when you are no longer there to provide for them. But they will be fulfilled because they know my mother have done everything that she owed to do to me. And now it's my time to take control of my life. It's time to take ownership of my life. I appreciate the education that my mother gave me. I appreciate that I have reached this age of adulthood because my mother have provided for me. So it's the moment you replace the self-entitlement with gratefulness, you are bringing up a fulfilled child. You are bringing up a grateful child. You are raising a very appreciative person. And the moment you are appreciative, the moment you are fulfilled, the moment you are grateful, and the moment you understand that everything that you have in life is a privilege, you are likely to live a very happy life. Because even if we take an example of Christianity, the reason why we are so fulfilled as Christian is because we understand the privilege it is to be called his child. The privilege it is to have a place where you can call home.
That
the privilege
you don't deserve it.
Exactly, to have access. It's not an entitlement, but it's a privilege. God himself decided these people are not worthy, but I'm giving them my most precious son. You see, this is our source of happiness. This is our source of fulfillment, because we don't feel entitled, but we feel honored. We are privileged that we are partaker.
So what you're saying is, it is my responsibility as a parent to teach my kids to be grateful and not to feel like they deserve it. They deserve the clothing, they deserve the food, they deserve it. But rather to take it like, wow, it's a privilege that we even have this. It's a privilege that my mother gave me this, and not to become entitled.
Exactly. So when the moment if an uncle have given your child something, teach your child to pick up the phone and say, call uncle. Uncle has sent $10 for you. Call uncle and thank uncle. So then the child knows, like, oh, so uncle have done something good to me. I need to be grateful. That's the way it starts. Because you cannot teach old dogs new tricks. You can't start when they are already old. That's when you teach them to be grateful. You need to start from a very young age and just cultivate this, nurture it, and then they won't have trouble in life, because you have already transform their mind or condition their mind from the very start to say nobody owes them anything. So every good thing that they are receiving is from that person's goodness of their heart, and they should treasure it. First of all, nobody owes you anything. You have to work hard for everything that you want in your life. Thirdly, I just want to say that all the good and perfect gifts come from God, and therefore we ought to share it with the world.